What's going on, everybody? This is Alex with Wholesale to Freedom. For those who don't know, this channel is all about wholesale and real estate, business, entrepreneurship, everything in between. Today's video, we're going to talk about the worst thing that can happen to you as a new wholesaler or even as an experienced wholesaler. So this video is going to be for anybody, and it's going to save you thousands of dollars, hopefully, by listening to my mistakes and some of the things that happened to me, and hopefully you can learn from them, grow from them, and not make those same mistakes. So not only am I going to tell you the worst thing that can happen to a wholesaler, but I'm going to tell you how to fix those things, or how not to fall into that trap of losing money, losing time, and having your back against the wall. Let's dive straight in. So let's talk about what our intentions are as a first-time wholesaler, or even as an experienced wholesaler just starting out. Somebody's closed maybe a couple of deals. The primary focus at that point is to try and get more deals, or try to get your first deal. And everybody's fixation and target when they're getting started is just to land that first deal. And the reason is because that's where everything starts to happen. That's where everything starts to grow. That's where everything comes to fruition. For those who don't know what that process is like, maybe for those who are waiting to cash that first check, whatever it may be. But it's really kind of it's kind of like initiation for a wholesaler. It's like the initiation process of getting started in wholesaling is getting that first deal. And if you're lucky, your first deal will either be just big enough to where you can start doing this full time, or maybe a little bit smaller to keep you going and producing more deals. And I say that because what had happened to me was nothing like that. If you watched any of my videos, or even my first wholesale video, I did $65,000 on my first deal. And I think that was one of the worst things that could have happened to me or anybody getting started in wholesaling. You're probably thinking, well, Alex, why is getting more money a bad thing? And it's not a bad thing. It depends on the person, right? For me, I was undisciplined. I didn't have a structure in place for my business, and I didn't know how to spend my money properly. I came from a world with very little money, and suddenly I've entered a world where I made as much money as I ever made, the most money, in 1 month. So that transition very quickly, if you're not prepared for it mentally and emotionally, you're not going to be prepared to spend that money wisely or invest that money wisely. For me, that money went very quickly, and it's not because I invested in the wrong things, but I did invest in things that I didn't need. For example, one of the things I did need, and one of the things that really helped propel me farther in my business and in life, was getting a mentor. And the reason why that's so important is because, well, one of the things that really helped slingshot me into my business and my knowledge and experience in this business is getting a mentor. And I had one of the best mentors in the virtual wholesaling industry, in my opinion. And for that reason, that was a very good investment. It was more than half of what I had just earned. So that $65,000 was more than that, more than half of that. But I knew that if I was going to be rich, I would have to lose the attachment to money. That was a good investment. However, the things that followed, the things that were recommended to me, and it's nothing I'm saying about the mentorship, right? The mentorship was A-okay, 100% awesome. It's not my mentor's fault. It's nobody's fault but my own. And when I say this, it's easy to say like, oh, well, they shouldn't have done this, or they shouldn't have told you this. No, it should have been on me to understand like what I needed in my business. And you don't know what you don't know. So that's why, I think he's still one of the greatest mentors, even as though some people may not look at it that way, because I learned, my lesson, the lesson I needed to learn. And I was recommended all these different programs because that's what he was using. And rightfully so. He runs a 6-figure business monthly in wholesaling. I thought, shit, I could do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these programs and systems. And, I've been on the phone before. I can lock up deals. I'm pretty good at this. So sure enough, I got a couple deals. I was getting stuff coming in. But what I was spending was far greater than what was coming in. And I thought it was just, in time it would come to me, right? I'm spending this money, it needs time to do its thing and come back. And in some cases, that's the truth. That's the truth. Sometimes it does take time. But for me, what I was doing, and this is why it's not my mentor's fault, is I was being lazy. I hired out immediately because I didn't want to talk on the phones. Who does? And I thought I could get around it because I just made this big money, right? I was this big baller. Big wholesaler. I just made the biggest deal of my life, and I'm the hottest thing on the corner that week. Whatever, the hottest kid on the block. And I let that get to my head, and I thought I could be like this millionaire real estate investor right off the bat because I got this big deal. And sure enough, it came to bite me in the ass at a point where I was in denial. I was telling myself, like, no, it's not gonna put you against the wall. You're not gonna go broke, Alex. You're not gonna lose all this money. It's just taking time, right? And so I never communicated with my mentor because I was like, no, I can figure this out on my own. And well, turns out I spent that money. That money went quickly and it never came back in. So I had to figure out alternative methods. My back was yet again against the wall, and I had to figure something out. And every time that this happened to me in my life where my back was against the wall, I've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to just focus on that next step and getting to that next level so that I can survive. But I'm at the point where I didn't want to, survive anymore. I wanted to thrive. And that's why I think getting that big deal was one of the worst things that could have happened to me, because I let it get to my head. Number one, I didn't have that grace period where I learned how to spend my money wisely, whereas somebody who maybe got a little or smaller deal and had to work their way up and build that foundation, I thought I could just put a foundation in and pay for it and it would just hold up the entire house. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to build a foundation, more important than it is to get the highest amount of money when you're getting started, because you need that experience, you need that discipline. And for that reason, I strongly recommend that you act like you never, if you get a deal that big, you act like you never even got it, and you keep whatever budget you're spending. Don't scale up immediately. Focus on one system, one process. Perfect that process, perfect that system, perfect that marketing, whether it's cold calling, text blasting, direct mail, whatever it is. Once you capitalize and get your return on investment that you're looking for on those marketing pieces, then move on to the next one. And even then, you can take it a step further. Once you get it down to where you want to get that return on investment, now get it down to where you're hiring out and you're still getting that return on investment, right? Because that's a whole separate process, a whole separate system. Now you're managing people and employees. That's a skill set you now have to learn. Fortunately for me, throughout this whole thing, it was a blessing in disguise, because I had to learn very quickly how to manage people, processes, build a process in place, find the answers. Like, I had to figure out everything very, very quickly. Otherwise, I'd go broke. I'd lose my house. My family wouldn't have a place to live. They wouldn't have food to eat. And because of that reason, I had to figure things out. I lost a lot of sleep and stressed a lot, more so than what people would see of me, because I'm very good at hiding that stuff. But that's what an entrepreneur is. Like, I feel like even when their back's against the wall, or even if they made a mistake, they fail through it, right? They figure it out, like, hey, I fucked up, now I got to figure this shit out. And so that's what's happened in my business and in my life. It's something that it's a blessing, a curse. I mentioned it several times, where I'm the type of person that's got to fail 1,000 times before I can get it right, and that's so true. But once I get it right, man, I 10x that stuff. And so I'm in that process right now where I'm 10x in my business, or I believe I am. Instead of just being, having this ego like I know it all, I'm taking a step back every now and then and saying, do I really have everything figured out? Am I really taking the right steps? Am I really doing the right things? And that's what you got to do, man. You got to sit back, reflect on your business, reflect on the actions you're taking, and ask yourself, is this the best way to do this thing? But don't do it every single day of the week, right? Yeah, it's good to reflect, but if you constantly question yourself, you constantly reassess your business, you're never going to make progress, because you're going to try to keep making it better on a daily basis. Do something for a month, see how it's going, check your KPIs, and just go from there. If things are working out great, keep doing what you're doing. If they're not, reassess what's wrong. And that's why it's important to focus on one thing as opposed to 10 different things, because it's so much easier to 10x that one thing if you're doing it right than it is to try to figure out what's going right and wrong and even 2 different things. And I can tell you from experience, it's extremely difficult, especially as somebody who's just getting started and you're doing everything yourself. So here's my advice. If you get a deal and you happen to get fortunate enough, and I hope you do, to get a large deal like that one, or whatever a large deal means to you, and you get that deal, act like you never got it, right? Spend that money like you never got it. Invest in your business like you never got it. And still build up on whatever budget you had set before that. Whether it's $200 a month, whether it's $500 a month, maybe bump it up $100 if that. But don't go and buy in a text blasting, don't buy a course, don't go buy in all this stuff unless you really, really want the course and mentorship, because like I said, they are valuable. But nobody's going to go out there and do it for you. There's no easy push button that any mentor is going to give you, and then you just push a button and now everything works and you don't have to do any work. No. Even if you hire the best mentor like I did, you still have to put in the work. You still have to make those mistakes. You still have to make that action every single day to make it work. All that mentor is there for is to answer your questions, and that's pretty much it, to fill in the blanks for any information or questions that you can't find the answers to. That's really all they're there for. They're not going to give you this pre-built system that you're going to just walk into and now you're making 20 grand a month. No, it doesn't work that way. So take my advice. I know my camera's kind of slouching down. I got this piece of crap mount in my car. It's worked for so long and now it's starting to kind of fall, but I do what I can. And if you guys like what I'm talking about, you like what I'm hearing, I'm trying to mix more motivation and more more of my motivational stuff into my knowledgeable stuff, because that's just who I am. I like to motivate people. You can tell I go out on a tangent talking about it. If you find that this content is really appealing to you, or maybe you had any questions, or maybe you just want to say, hey Alex, I don't like your shirt, whatever it may be, put it in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, good, bad, and the ugly. And I really hope that this advice and this information can help save you tons of money and tons of time in your business. So don't let this stuff get to your head. Don't try to be the guy or girl that knows it all after you land one deal. Be humble, constantly relearn stuff, and take action, right? So that's all it is, man. Every day is a school day, and treat yourself as a student, and you'll be fine. Learn from your mistakes. Don't take too much action without having any knowledge in doing that. If you're thinking, well, now I can buy a list that's 10,000 people strong, and you don't have the time or the energy to hit those 10,000 people, why not start with 1,000 people and work your way up? I made the mistake of trying to take on too much at one time, starting out on my own, and like I said, it came back to bite me in the butt. So learn from my mistakes. You can always grow, but whenever you try to take like massive action and you lose all your money, you have to now restart the process, and you don't want to do that. You now have to restart the process and figure out how to build a foundation in your business. My recommendation is to, one, get that deal done, that first deal, get that experience, and then focus on building a strong foundation. It's like a house of cards. You cannot have a house of cards if you don't have a strong foundation. Build that foundation, that systems and processes, document everything, and then start building on top of that foundation, slowly, and then depending on the size of the deals that you're bringing in, whether they're $5, $10, $25, $50, $100,000, that's really going to gauge how fast you can move. Obviously the sky's the limit. You can crowdfund, you can raise money to build your business and make mistakes on their dime, but my advice is life is a marathon and not a race. And I'm very competitive, and I thought I could get to that $1 million very quickly, and it's proven to be everything but. And it has a lot to do with how I was running things, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. Start small as far as aspects of the business and slowly learn each aspect of the business: the accounting, the hiring out, the systems, the processes, the KPIs, the budget analysis every single month, your goals every single month, time block. Start small, get that discipline out of the way now, and then you'll be so successful in your business, and people will be coming up to you wondering, what the heck did you do? I want to do what you're doing. This is Alex Harshman, guys. I hope you found value out of this video. If you please do like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, click that notification bell. That way you get notified of all my future videos. And I hope to see you all on the next one. Y'all take care and do you.